What I mean when I say hard rock underground mining is hard. Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters. And last week I got asked a really good question. What did I mean by the job being hard? There's long hours, there's time pressures, there's changing work conditions, there's lots of rules to learn, there's the repetitive jobs, and there's someone always watching you. Those are just a few of the things that get thrown into it that make the job hard. They start with a sink or swim training situation where they throw you in the deep end and they want you up and running as quick as you can. Lots of people aren't able to pick it up quickly and they get turned out. So if we have a look at the sponsor's website under pay and rosters, you'll see that most people are going to work even time or 2-in-1 rosters. Very rarely do people work the long rosters anymore. That's normally construction or oil and gas or exploration sometimes works the long, especially if they're in the middle of nowhere. But all the hard rock underground jobs are going to be either week on, week off, or 8 and 6, 7 and 7, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or 2 weeks on, 1 week off. The even time rosters work out really well. The 2-in-1 rosters, they can be a bit hit and miss for people because instead of you either here this weekend or here next weekend with the even time rosters, with the 2-in-1 you're into a 3-week cycle, and that means you're here in 3, 6, 9 or 12 weeks, which is hard for people to wrap their head around. So you end up falling out of the old circle of friends, and sometimes you pick up the crew or the people that you're working with on the same roster as a new circle of friends. So just be aware of that. I just wanted to go into the course and outline one of the things that we teach in the course of why it's so hard. So unfortunately the reality is 3 out of 5 people fail in the first 6 months. The good news is the people that have completed the DIY or work ready packages have a greatly reduced chance of failure because you prepared yourself for what you're getting yourself into. Most start in groups, so don't be surprised or alarmed if people start failing around you. Mining is a hard job. It's not for everybody. Keep your head down and keep your eye on the prize, making it past that first 6 months in the job. So here's some tips. Listen to the miners and take the feedback. Don't be a smartass. If someone tells you something, don't respond with, I already know that, because that'll be the last thing that anybody ever teaches you. I've seen that happen so many times. Ask for help if you want to know something. Don't fail a drug and alcohol test or an alcohol test in the morning for obvious reasons. Don't blow shifts. They like people that turn up. If you've been hired by a labour hire company, as soon as your time's up, try and get signed over to the owner-operator. You'll get better benefits. If something goes wrong, be straight up with people. Don't lie. As soon as you lie and you get caught in a lie, it's always instant dismissal. You're better off telling the truth to people. Be eager to do the job. You need to show a sense of urgency in everything you're doing. And that comes back to the time pressure that I was talking about before. Everything's on the clock in underground. So you have to have a sense of urgency when you're doing everything. That doesn't mean that you're running everywhere. It just means that you're moving from one job to another with a real sense of purpose. And remember, whatever you're doing, just remember somebody will be always watching you, whether it be your own bosses or whether it be the client's bosses, or if it's someone from geology or survey. If you're in the underground mine, just remember that the eyes are always on you. And lastly, if after some time you think that underground's not for you, say something. Don't be one of these people that stick it out underground and are terrified every day of going down there. Those people always have a bad result in the end by either hurting themselves or hurting somebody else. Unfortunately, I've seen that happen a lot of times in the industry. Lastly, I just wanted to show the repetitive nature of the job, and this is one of the slides that we show in driving up the decline. And it takes a few minutes to get through, but you get the point. It's meant to be like this. Totally boring. Once you master driving the truck can be a very boring job. Everything underground, once you master it, can be a very boring job. So I always try and tell people to make a game of it. So if we go back up to here where it was, yeah, look for things on the decline. Help the grader driver roll the roads in by taking a different line each time. If you keep taking the same line, everybody keeps on taking the same line every time, you end up with those train tracks down the decline, and the grader's always got to get in there. If everybody takes a slightly different line, then it compacts the road down. It makes it easier for everybody to work. It just shows your professionalism in the job, and that's what the employers are looking for, people that are going to take on the job professionally. And like I said, unfortunately, it's either a sink or swim situation with training with the new starters. That's not the employer's fault. It's just the way it goes when you've got to do all the training when you get there after you've got the job. That's one of the reasons why we wrote the training, so you know what you're getting yourself into when you get there. If you've got to learn all this at the same time as they're trying to teach you how to drive the truck, and they want you up and running within a couple of weeks, you can see how many people just fail. I had a phone call from a person a couple of months ago. They were telling me that they were already in the truck and driving by themselves after the 8th day. And they were also telling me that everybody was telling them about the people that preceded them. So there were 2 that quit and 1 got the sack, all within a couple of months of each other. And that's the way the industry works, unfortunately. You either sink or you swim. If you start sinking, they fish you out and say thank you very much, but no thank you, and send you on your way. So the best way to guarantee that you make it, I think, is to spend $450 and learn all this information before you get there. And that way, when you do get there, all you have to do is concentrate on learning how to drive the truck and not have to worry about doing everything else. But that's why it's really a hard job, is because of all that. There's a lot on everybody, and you've got to be realistic about these things. Anybody or any company that's going to pay their entry-level people $100,000 straight off the bat, and their tier 2 people $200,000, and their top tier people over $300,000, they want their pound of flesh, and they want it done the way they want it done, as quickly and as safely as possible. And if you can't pick it up in the appropriate time, they'll move you on, and they'll put you in a situation where, like I said, in the other person I was talking to, 2 people left. They put you in a situation where you want to leave. Now, that's the unfortunate thing about the industry. So I hope people can understand how, when I say it's a hard job, there's lots that goes into it, but mainly it's a hard job because people don't know what they're getting themselves into. And I hope you can share that information around, and it was helpful to you, and if you can like and subscribe the channel. Thank you.